Hey guys, good morning. Welcome to another edition of Mind Medicine Therapy. In today's episode, I'll be talking about something that is a little bit different from what I traditionally do, and that's okay because my intention is not to be placed within that box because the mind, power of the mind, is very expansive and very powerful. I want to talk about this morning Jamaica because for those of us who lived in Jamaica, and for those of us who are from Jamaica, whatever happens in Jamaica is impacted by us. And so what I'm going to be talking about may be construed, may be misrepresented as being political. The goal, however, is not to be political. The goal is not to try to support or to tear down any political party. Because I see that a lot of times when we become political, we do more harm than good. But we can't get away from the fact that politics does affect us and we have a responsibility to be involved to some extent. So just that alone may be a statement that is controversial. But I want to talk about Jamaica this morning, and I'll talk about the recent Integrities Commission debunking, the recent Integrities Commission disclosure that has gained so much focus, so much spotlight, so much attention, and maybe rightly so because transparency and corruption affects us and is important to all of us. But I want to slightly deviate from that because, as I said, a lot of what we do is really perception. It's how we perceive it, is how we project it, is how we handle it. So the recent Integrities Commission exposure has really brought to the forefront the whole issue of corruption and how mismanagement of power is being played out on a large scale. And this has become, for a lot of people, fodder. It has become a point of focus. It has become a point of attention. And the problem with that is that when we focus on something sometime and magnify something, then it creates the impression that there is nothing good happening. Or it creates the impression that nothing else is happening. As a matter of fact, I'm doing this recording, I'm doing this video from New York. And when you go through New York, the streets, the different businesses, it's amazing how much a small country like Jamaica has managed to create such a phenomenal impact on a country as large as America. And so even though there is so much corruption and so much crime and so much focus on negativity, there has to be some amount of positivity, some amount of power that this island nation has, that it has impacted or affected not only America, not only New York, but the world as a whole. And so today I want to direct the positive affirmation this morning towards Jamaica's economic growth and global contribution. That's what I want to target, because while I am here, and while it is obvious that there is corruption, and while it is obvious that there is mismanagement, I don't know if you pay attention to what's happening in Lebanon. I don't know if you pay attention to what's happening in Israel. I don't know if you pay attention to what's happening in the Middle East. And so in spite of what is happening in Jamaica, we can get up and be preoccupied or focused with our business from yesterday or the day before. We can still continue to work on our plans for next week. In some of these countries, thousands of people are dying daily. People's lives have become disrupted. And for many of us, it's just watching another video, not a movie. It's not a Hollywood production. This is real. This is people's lives. They are being affected. There are persons who were in the midst of their degree program. There are persons who just launched their business. There are persons who just got married and had plans for their life. And now it has become disrupted. That's not our reality in Jamaica. There are persons who are sick and have to worry not only about their health anymore, but they have to now consider, will the hospital that they're in be bombed? That's not our reality. And so whereas the focus of what's happening in Jamaica may want us to feel that we are the worst, there is so much to give thanks for. There is so much to be grateful for. The average person in Jamaica right now is thinking about expanding their business. Children are thinking about getting ready for their exams. There's so much normalcy. And I don't know if people understand that that is something to give thanks for. I remember a couple of years ago, that normalcy disruption affected Ukraine. So you can imagine those buildings that are being bombed was somebody's real estate, was somebody's family legacy that was passed down to them. And then all of a sudden, that normalcy got disrupted. And then it was the Gaza. They had normalcy. And then all of a sudden, their normalcy has been disrupted. So now it's Gaza and Ukraine and the other areas that are involved in the conflict. And then not long after, because I'm sharing with you how it came to me, how the disruptions came to me. It came as close as Haiti. Now, bearing in mind, none of these areas that I've mentioned, normalcy has been returned to them. Haiti is still in turmoil. That's very, very close to Jamaica. Very, very close to us. So we had Ukraine, we had Gaza, we had Haiti. Now it's Lebanon. We're not talking about the countries in Africa because we don't get that much news. The news is not focused on those parts of the world. The point that I'm making is that the disruption of normalcy is becoming normal. The disruption of normalcy is becoming prevalent. But this is still not our reality in Jamaica. There is no perfect country. There is no perfect world. We are bound to have problems somewhere. Am I trying to apologize for what is happening in Jamaica? I'm trying to say that we should turn our heads aside to corruption and a lack of accountability. That's not what I'm saying. First thing to be true. As a matter of fact, I believe that we need to press this issue of a lack of accountability and transparency and a lack of mismanagement to the fullest extent of the law, because yes, it does affect our image on the world scale, on a global scale. But should we magnify it? Should we glorify it? Should we use it as the fodder for discussions day after day, week after week? I don't think we should. I think that there's so much positivity that we need to be grateful of. I'm grateful every single solitary day I get up and still see an island as small as Jamaica still having normalcy. I'm still grateful when I look at all these big countries. In Africa, there's demonstration, there's riot all over the world. And maybe the reason why it reached that point was because of poor management, lack of management, and all of that corruption. So I'm not saying that we should ignore what we have to deal with. But what I want you to do is to join me this morning in declaring positive affirmation rather than focusing. Imagine if we could focus, if I had 100 people, 200 people, 1,000 people who could use the power, the creative power that they have right now, to focus that on decreeing and declaring the Jamaica that we want, instead of reaffirming and validating through repetition the Jamaica that we now have, we would be in a far better and a far more powerful position. So if you love Jamaica, I want you to join with me over the next 30 days in repeating this affirmation that I'm going to share with you. See, I believe in the power and in the creative power that we have. In the scriptures in the book of Psalms, it says that you are gods, you are Elohims, you are mighty, but you shall die like mere men. We haven't tapped into the creative power of the mind, because we were given certain creative power. There's a creative power of the loins that as men we use to reproduce. But then there's the creative power of the mind that we also are able to use to reproduce. And I want you to join with me as I share with you this declaration to reproduce in the nation what we want. It doesn't matter which political party or through which political leader this is achieved. It doesn't matter. Because they are only vessels or agents of the change. What we are declaring is the change. The agent that are chosen is totally up to the Creator, Almighty Yahweh. It's totally up to Him to choose who He wishes as the vessel that will bear this change. What we want to focus on is the change. And so I want you to repeat this with me for the next 30 days. To effect change in our nation, to help this nation to continue to have the normalcy and the stability that it now has. And again, I says that is questionable and controversial to some. But I'm talking about comparing what we have with the rest of the world. It is normalcy. Not perfection, but it is normalcy. When you can get up and to a large extent predictively determine what you want to achieve, and for the most part that is done, there has to be a certain level of normalcy for that to happen. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for that. Could it be better? Maybe. There's always room for improvement. But I'm grateful for what we have. Because looking at what is happening in Lebanon and what is happening in Gaza and what is happening in Haiti, we have a lot going for us. And I would love to see that being improved. I want to share this positive affirmation with you, and I want you to join me in repeating it for the next 30 days over the nation of Jamaica. Here we go. Jamaica stands as a beacon of strength, resilience, and boundless potential. Our nation is rooted in rich culture, innovation, and unwavering spirit. I affirm that Jamaica is on a path of continuous economic growth, where opportunities are abundant and prosperity flows to every corner of our island. We are a nation of innovators, creators, and leaders, making meaningful contribution to the global stage. Our industries thrive, our resources are managed with wisdom, and our people are empowered to achieve their fullest potential. Jamaica's economy flourishes, built on sustainability, integrity, and forward thinking. We lead a global advancement from agriculture to technology, education to tourism, with our unique voice and vision enriching the world. I declare that Jamaica's future is one of prosperity, peace, and unity. We rise above challenges, creating solutions that inspire others globally. Our influence expands, and our contribution to global progress grows each day. We are a land of hope, resilience, and excellence, destined for greatness in every endeavor. Jamaica, land we love, is a symbol of economic empowerment, innovation, and positive global impact. As the heartbeat of the Caribbean, Jamaica's influence extends far beyond our shores. Our people are bold, creative, and driven by a shared vision of progress and unity. We are a nation of thinkers, innovators, and change makers, contributing powerfully to the global economy. Our national resources are harnessed sustainably. Our industries evolve with innovation, and our entrepreneurs rise to meet the challenges of a dynamic world. I want you to join me in repeating that for the next 30 days. I want you to send this to somebody. I believe in the power of this nation. we have effected so much change on the global stage. Jamaica has more influence on this globe. I'm going to go out on a limb now. Jamaica has more spiritual influence on this globe than even the United Nations. Jamaica has garnered more respect than the United Nations. And I would go out on a limb and say that Jamaica is the unofficial United Nations of the world. That's how much impact they have made. Just imagine the size of a nation. Could drop in New York. For those of you who don't travel, when you begin to travel, Jamaica is a brand. Jamaica is an icon. What are we doing with it? When you go to parts of the world and you open your mouth, you say, Jamaica, Jamaica. The pride that we as a people is not realized. You can't realize, it's like if you have a light on in the midst of other light, that light's value cannot be seen. That a light, for it to gain value, has to be seen in darkness. So when you take one bulb in a desert where there's no other light source and turn it on, it creates impact. And when Jamaicans are in Jamaica, they don't see the value or worth or the impact that as a Jamaican you have. You only see that when you travel outside. When you travel to parts of Africa, travel to parts of the Middle East, that's when you realize the value that we have as a nation. That's when you realize the worth. I don't think our politicians even understand that, because they have not done a good enough job of marketing brand Jamaica. There are parts of the world that if you had a watch, and if it had just the Jamaican's flag on it, it has more value. You are a brand Jamaica and Jamaicans. We have so much to give thanks for, because amidst the craziness, the crisis that is happening globally, we still have stability. Still have stability. Still have normalcy, at least compared to the rest of the world. Some persons would say that. I agree with it to some extent, because very objective. You may be having normalcy in your life, but my life is living hell. Not comparing what's happening to what's happening in your life or what's happening in a section of Jamaica. I'm comparing it to the rest of the world. I'm comparing it to Lebanon. I'm comparing it to Haiti. I'm comparing it to Ukraine. I'm comparing it to parts of Africa. I'm comparing it to parts of Europe. And this is not just only economical and political crisis. I'm talking about even natural disasters. Some of you may not even know. I want you to Google what's happening in the Amazon. The river is drying up. It's not the reality. We had some drought. It's not our reality. The fires. I'm talking about the interruption of normalcy is becoming the new normal. Most of these places that I've mentioned, that their normalcy have been disrupted or disturbed, they have not gotten back normalcy as yet. What is happening is more countries seem to be joining that list. And so, for us to have the normalcy again, for us to have the normalcy that we have, there's a lot to do. So in spite of what is happening with the Prime Minister, and it needs to be explored to the fullest extent, corruption needs to be exposed. Political leaders need to be held accountable. That framework, those policies have to be in place. In spite of all of that, what I want to say is, I am grateful that Jamaica is my home. And I'm grateful that a lot of people see it as a positive place to be. And I want you to join with me. So what is it that what we don't see? That's complaining about what we don't see. Let's fuel our energy to create what we want to see. It's the purpose of this affirmation. It's not to criticize, it's to observe and to identify, because you can't be naive or not be true. But again, in this classroom called life, when we observe what is happening, we have to interpret that, formulate an action that will make it better, not worse. So from our observation, we can see what's happening. How do we interpret that to make it better? Or do we contribute to make it better or worse? So I wanted to share. I want to go back over what I said. I want to thank you guys for, just spending the time to listen to the ramblings of this old man. Thank you for listening, for taking the time out. But I love my home. I love Jamaica. And when we were young, one thing that makes Jamaica great is that, whether you believe it or not, when we were young and we were going to school, we were all forced to repeat an affirmation. And that affirmation, when we were children, has contributed to what Jamaica is. You know it. You know the affirmation. Before God and all mankind, I pledge the love and loyalty of my mind, my heart, the wisdom and courage of my mind, the strength and vigor of my body, in the service of fellow citizens. You know it. The part that I love is where it says, so that Jamaica may, under Yah, improve in beauty, fellowship and prosperity, and play her part in the advancement of the whole human race. Every Jamaican who makes that positive affirmation has contributed to why Jamaica is where it is. And it is still being decreed and declared in the schools now. Our impact on the world is not accidental. Our impact on the global stage is not by accident. I believe that part of the reason why that has been done is because of that particular affirmation and declaration that we make repetitively. And so, everywhere in the world that you go, that declaration is realized, coupled with our national anthem that is a prayer. Everywhere in the world that we go, we are the nation of impactors, world changers. It is, I believe, through that positive affirmation. Every morning for devotion at school, we are encouraged to repeat it. We repeat it without understanding it. But that doesn't stop or prevent the subconscious mind from affecting it. And so I believe that's one of the major ingredients in why this nation is looking up. As I said, guys, thank you for listening to the ramblings of this old man. Till next time, have a wonderful day.